And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Come on, everybody. Here we go.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Hello, boys! I'm back!
Ahoy, mateys! It's time to set sail for another episode of the Filmbox Podcast. Yar! I'm your host, Aaron Souza, and I'm joined by Connor and Sam. Ahoy. Yo ho ho. How's the gents doing? Are ye avoiding the scurvy?
Hey Sam, how you doing?
Gotta go swab the gotta go swab the poop deck.
Mr. Arrow. Oh,
Some
man.
fine seamen here.
Hey. All right. That's going to do it for this week. We'll see you next time. No. Welcome, everyone. It's the Filmbox Podcast, the greatest movie podcast in the world. This week, we're doing a wonderful review, per Sam's request, of Muppet Treasure Island. So if this is our best episode, thanks, Sam. This is all him.
Now you know why I requested it.
Yeah. Well, I had never seen it before, but yeah, well, before we get into all of that, obviously we got a bunch of stuff to talk about. First off, we got to talk about what we've been watching lately. This whole intro's gone so off the rails.
Yeah,
I did the whole pirate thing.
You're struggling.
I did the
right
whole
now.
pirate thing, and it started strong, and then I was like, how do I actually intro this now?
You're just trying to find it.
Yeah, but that's all right. We'll find it by doing it. Let's roll into what we've been watching lately. And are you guys drinking anything? I feel like we haven't talked about that in a little while.
I'm just drinking a good old on La Palma.
Water.
Sponsor. I got water as well. So, yeah. Who wants to kick us off on what they've been watching lately?
I'll go.
All right.
I haven't seen too much. I'm still pretty busy, so. Excuse me.
Absolutely not.
This past
To
weekend,
the brig with you.
This past weekend, I watched the new Bike Riders movie with Jodie Comer and Austin Butler and Tom Hardy.
And Mike Feist.
And Mike
gotta
Feist.
put that out there. Gotta put that out there.
He was great in there too. That was a good movie. Couple things. Review should be coming out soon. I went on to watching Turbo.
That's a choice.
Yeah,
That is
I
a
don't know,
choice.
It was on Netflix. I'm like, you know what? I'm down for a good animated racing movie. I've never seen it before, so it was my first time seeing it. Yeah. And
That's
then
fine.
I finished off with watching Muppet's Treasure Island last night. Rewatching it,
Nice.
of course.
Nice. Very nice. For me, I've seen 3 movies as well. This week, I watched Boogie Nights as part of my journey on the Letterboxd Top 250 American films. And I do want to point out, I did switch the list to the American films only because as I was looking through the list of all the movies on the overall, a lot of them I just can't watch. Like, you just can't find them or whatever. They're just not available. So we're just going to go with the American movies and we'll go from there. But I watched Boogie Nights again. That TikTok is out. The next movie I'm watching on that whole journey is Synecdoche, New York. I think that's how you pronounce it.
With,
I could be wrong.
PSH?
Yep. Philip Seymour Hoffman again. And then watch Muppet's Treasure Island for this review. And then Treasure Planet, because I really wanted to watch Treasure Planet after watching Muppet Treasure Island. So that's what I've been watching.
I figured you'd watch Muppet Treasure Island for, next podcast, but never mind.
Yeah.
You said, for this podcast. Well, no shit, Sherlock.
Oh well. Hey man, people might be confused.
Did I tell you about my dad and Philip Seymour Hoffman?
No.
It's nothing cool, but when I went to go see Furiosa with him, I was asking him like, "Oh, what kind of movies do you like? Like, what's your favorite genre?" And he's like, "I really like Philip Seymour Hoffman as a genre."
That's the genre.
Yeah,
That's a good.
like,
I mean, hey,
cool.
it's a good pick. Not gonna lie.
Like early or later, Philip. I've only seen 4 movies now. Been a bit of a slow week for me. I watched 10 Things I Hate About You with my girlfriend
Great
Erin.
movie. Was that her first time watching it?
First time.
Oh, what'd you think?
She liked it a lot. Let me see what she gave it.
Oh, you have her doing ratings now. I love this.
I got her on Letterboxd.
Oh, I gotta follow her.
She gave it 3.5. I have it at 4.
I'm gonna go find her right now on Letterboxd.
So 10 Things I Hate About You with her. That was always great. I rewatched After Sun because it's on Netflix. I love feeling just empty after a Paul Mescal movie. Watched Muppet Treasure Island, per course, and I knocked out Chinatown on my watch list.
Nice, very nice, very very nice. Yeah. So that we got a good variety. I can't believe you watched Turbo.
Yeah.
That's just a wild choice. It's such a crazy choice.
It's a fine movie.
It's
I
fine.
gave it a 2.5. It's like a
It's average.
Peak
average.
mid.
It's No Treasure Planet, which is, I think, the most underrated Disney movie that they've ever made. It's one of my favorites. But yeah, so before we get into the actual review, Sam, I hear you have a game for us.
I do. It's a game that we haven't played in quite some time.
I'm
game.
looking forward to it.
The game goes by the name of You've Lost the Plot.
Woo! Bringing it back. How old is this game? Like this
I
game,
think that's
we
like
were
one
doing
of the
this
first
game.
episodes, yeah.
We were doing this game like sub 10 episodes.
I was gonna say, I think this is the first
Yeah.
game you guys actually played, and it was before I joined too.
Oh wow. Well, bringing it back.
All right, so for those who don't know how to play this game, I will read out a movie plot. Could be a fake one, could be a real one. That's Connor and Aaron's job to guess. So, are you ready?
I
Aye,
could
Captain.
not be more ready.
All right.
Aye, Captain.
Yarr, matey. All right, so the first one goes. People accuse their loved ones of being emotionless imposters. At first, a doctor tries to convince them they're wrong, but they're not. Plant-like extraterrestrials have invaded Earth, taking possession of their souls while they sleep.
There was a lot of extra at the end of that I was not expecting. Oh,
Is this a
wow.
real movie or a fake movie?
Tell you what, it sounds like a movie I'd love to watch. I'm gonna say real.
I'm going real too, and I think I know it's Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Final answers?
Yes.
Yes, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Connor's confident.
This is indeed Invasion of the Body Snatcher.
Yes, I
R.I.P.
got
Donald.
it right. I got it right.
1956.
Wild.
All right. That's 2 for Aaron and 2 for Connor.
I mean, I wouldn't really count.
I feel like I
me.
get the bonus point there.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
Connor should
okay.
get the bonus point for that one.
All right. So Connor,
He
Connor's
was
got
very
one.
confident, so I went with his answer.
Connor's got 2. Aaron has 1 then. All right. Next one goes. A young woman agrees to marry a handsome prince, only to discover it was all a trap. She's thrown into a cave with a fire-breathing dragon and must rely solely on her wits and will to survive.
I'm gonna go real again.
This sounds like such a cool movie, but I also think this is absolutely a Sam style movie. But at the same time, you know what? I actually have a guess. I'm going to say real.
Okay.
I'm going to say it's real and it's Damsel.
Yes, that was my exact guess, was Damsel.
That would be true.
Yes! Let's go. Damn, that I almost went with fake because it sounds so much like a movie that you would do.
All right. Next one. Jacob, a middle-aged man, owns a ranch in a quiet town in southern Canada. He meets Susan at the local store and starts dating her. All is well until Jacob starts to realize that Susan may not be a real person, or even a real human.
Again, this sounds so real. This one's less on brand for Sam.
I was going to say, he used character names, which he hasn't been doing.
But at the same time, this is not like a Sam-style movie. Oh, you know what? I'm going to go with the 3P. I'm going to say it's real.
Can you just say it quickly again? Sorry.
Yeah. Jacob, a middle-aged man, owns a ranch in a quiet town in southern Canada. He meets Susan at the local store. All is well until Jacob starts to realize that Susan may not be a normal person, even a normal human.
For disparity, I'll go fake.
All right. This is indeed a fake movie that I made up.
Damn, that was solid. That was solid. The character names almost tipped me, the fact that you named off the characters. Mm-hmm. But it just, yeah.
All right, so I got 2 more.
Me?
Yep, 5-3 Aaron. 5-3 Connor.
5-3 Aaron.
yeah. And I got 2 more. So Aaron, you're gonna make a comeback.
Yep.
You don't want to say it.
I won't.
He's coming, all right.
Everyone loves a good comeback story.
Kim Kardashian. Anyways, all right. So this one. A thief, princess, and a wizard's son meet and embark on the adventure of their lifetime. Traveling across the country of Elantris, they search for the missing gold treasure that has been stolen by Grish, the Goblin Emperor.
This is a trick question. This is the plot to Trine. Trine is a video game for anyone who's not aware that Sam and I used to play years and years ago.
So I'm gonna go with fake. Did they make it a movie? I don't know.
No, but my final answer is this is the plot to Trine.
This actually is not the plot to Trine, but it is a fake movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you said it with your chest.
It sounded a lot like the plot to Trine. I was like, wow.
I used 2 books in this. So Elantris is a book by Brandon Sanderson, and The Goblin Emperor is also a book.
Nice. That was good. That was good.
All right, last one.
6-4.
I need a big time win here.
Former carnival performer Hubert Hawkins and maid Jean are assigned to protect the infant royal heir from tyrannical king. From the tyrannical king. While Jean takes the baby to an abbey, Hawkins gains access to the court by impersonating the king's jester, unaware that the jester is really an assassin. When the princess falls for Hawkins, a witch secretly aids him in becoming a knight.
I am going to say this is also a trick question, and this is the plot to the Family Guy episode where they go British.
I'm going to say it's a real movie.
No, I got to say it's real. And I'm going to guess its name is A Court of Jesters.
I'm going to just say Court Jester. Because I feel like Jester has to be in the name. Otherwise, you wouldn't have brought it up.
All right, this is a real movie. 1955. And the name of this movie is The Court Jester.
Oh! Oh my god! I'll tell you what. Though we were right. If Connor had gone fake, I would have been like right on the money. Yeah. That would have been the most insane comeback.
The boy pulled out strong.
But yeah, he did. It's kind of. I see right. That look. All right, let's move on. Well, now we've wet the palate, and we've, gotten ourselves ready. I think it's time to get into the review. What do you guys think?
I'm good with that.
There.
All right, well, let's do it. All right. Muppet Treasure Island is a 1996 American musical swashbuckler comedy film. You got all those genres? Because there's a few of them. Directed by Brian Henson, and it's the 5th theatrical film that features the Muppets. Screenplay by Jerry Jewell, Kirk Thatcher, and James Hart, who are known really for collaborating with the Muppets. And based on the story Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. Could you guess that that's what it was based on? This movie stars Tim Curry, Dave Gold, Steve Whitmire, Jerry Nelson, Kevin Clash, Frank Oz, and the Muppets, with music by Hans Zimmer, and produced by Walt Disney Pictures and Jim Henson Productions. Released February 16th, 1996, with a runtime of 100 minutes on the dot. I don't have box off or budget info, but I do know that this movie made $47.2 million at the box office in 1997 or 1996, technically, which is pretty impressive for a Muppets movie.
I see $5 million for a budget.
$5 million. So yeah, it made a lot of money. And I just want to point out, I realized this while I was. I also have to say Kevin Bishop plays Jim Hawkins. I don't know why it wasn't in the brief starring summary, but yes, gotta point that out. Tim Curry might be like one of my favorite actors ever.
Oh my gosh. He's
Tim
insane.
Curry is awesome.
I just came out of watching Clue with him too.
Oh, so good.
It's just so
Man,
good.
he's just phenomenal. Anyways, so Sam, why don't you bring us through some reviews?
Yeah. All right, so on Rotten Tomatoes, the tomato meter, the critics gave this movie a 71%, with an audience score of 77. So pretty similar. That what averages out to about a 4 out of 5 stars, 6 out of 10. So. It was hard to find actually bad reviews on Google. And a lot of these reviews are just like one-liners, kind of like, "Oh, I love this movie," stuff like that. This one just kind of related back to me. And it says, "This movie is pure nostalgia. I mean, Muppets portraying pirates, awesome." Like, I used to watch this movie as a kid all the time, and it's just it is a nostalgia hit, and it still holds up and everything like that right now. Today. Mm-hmm. And then I saw this one. It was a 1 out of 5 star. It says, "Disappointing. Lots of fighting. Not the kid-friendly movie I was expecting."
What? Wait.
If only they made a joke about that in the movie.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, whatever. But a lot of these reviews are praising Tim Curry as in his role and everything like that. It's just even I was looking on Letterboxd, all those reviews are just praising Tim Curry with his role.
I mean, Tim Curry he just goes for it. Whenever he does a role, he's like, "I'm in, man. This is what I'm doing."
It's such a shame that he got injured, that he's now handicapped.
I didn't even realize that he was now handicapped.
He's been handicapped since 2012 after a stroke.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, he's been like
That's a
wheelchair
shame.
and stuff. So
Well, he's still a legend. He's still a legend. All right. Well, Connor, are you ready to bring us through this movie?
Absolutely, I am.
All right. Hold on. Let's do it.
I got cabin fever! I've got it too! Cabin fever!
Alrighty. So, Jim Hawkins is a young orphan who lives in an inn in England with his best friend.
Where? In England?
Yes,
in.
in located in England. With his best friend.
In England.
I said it right.
All right.
I said it right.
I know.
the
It's
man
just
talk.
funny. It's just funny. In England.
In England. Get on me when I get stuff wrong, not when I finally get something right.
I am not. It's just a funny phrase.
Jim Hawkins.
Oh, Jimmy, Jim.
No, he's Jimmy Jim.
Oh, Jimmy Jim.
I'm not Jimmy, Jim. He's Jimmy, Jim.
All right, Jimbo
All right,
is a young
Connor.
orphan who lives in England with his best friends Gonzo and Rizzo. Jimbo listens to Billy Bones' tales about the pirate captain Bernie Flint, who buried his treasure trove on a remote island and executed his crew so only he would own the island's map. One night, Bones' crewmate Blind Pew arrives, giving Bones the black spot of death. Just before dying of a heart attack, Bones gives Jim the treasure map and begs him to go after the treasure and keep it safe from pirate hands, especially a one-legged man. Just then, an army of pirates attack the inn, destroying it, but Jim, Gonzo, and Rizzo escape with the map.
Oh man. I gotta say off the bat, the cast, great. The crew, holy shit, it's stacked. I mean, you got the
Gonzo.
Muppets, so you're gonna have
Gonzo.
obviously you're gonna have like Jim Henson and Frank Oz and the people behind, but also you got Brian Henson doing the directing. You got Hans Zimmer doing the score here. It's like it's a banger cast and crew.
The music
And speaking
goes
of Hans Zimmer,
fucking crazy.
Oh, that opening musical number!
Oh,
I was like, yeah, I'm in. This is it. I'm in.
The opening scene. That we want to talk about the opening scene with the with like burying the treasure and stuff like that.
Yes. Oh my god, that
just
whole
like-
musical number.
Yeah. And they just did it so well because like they had like different Muppets like singing at times and every time. So
Yeah, no, it's great, and they set an atmosphere like right away. Like I don't know what I was expecting because I've never seen this before. I don't know what I was expecting, but it felt like a legitimately good pirate movie. Like on top of it being the Muppets, it was like a legitimately good movie about pirates with the right atmosphere, the right settings, the right backdrops and sets, and what it was. I was thoroughly impressed right from the get-go.
yeah, I think it surprises you too because at the end of that first part, he just pulls out his pistols and he just like shoots his own crew. It's like okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, literally, I was thinking, wait, whoa, hold up. But then I like that they make the joke, not even, it's like meta enough where it's like, wait, this dude's dying. I thought this was like a kid's movie. Like, what are we doing here?
I think so. I want to say that he says that on almost every single Muppets movie because I remember in Muppets Christmas Carol too, he also says that. Rizzo does so. And this is supposed to be a kids movie.
I feel like I have seen this before because like the scene of him getting the black spot, I vividly remember that, and I was like, man, that must go crazy. Like just like walking up to someone and giving them like a piece of paper with a black circle on it and then they just die.
Yeah. That's like a lot of voodoo power to have.
Well, I don't know if it was in any of the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Pretty
Yeah.
sure it is.
In the second one, Dead Man's Chest, Bootstrap Bill Turner gives Jack Sparrow the black spot right at the beginning of the movie.
I remember that. Maybe I'm getting these two confused because I don't remember it being a blind bird that gives him the spot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I will say the Pirates of the Caribbean people, they, I think there was some crossover between Treasure Planet and Pirates of the Caribbean in terms of the writers, and the people that wrote both movies were really into Treasure Island, so there's a lot of crossover in things between all those movies. So yeah, it makes sense that maybe like those things kind of have carried over between each of those sorts of stuff. The first song was good. The second song in the inn with Jim and Gonzo and Rizzo, I was like, so after the first song I was like, okay, that was a banger. We'll see how the rest of this goes. And then the second song kicks in and I was like, what do we do? This is another one. We got another banger. I mean, that both songs to start, it just pulled me in, and I was very impressed.
Yeah, I think the whole opening end scene was really well done with like introducing these new characters
and giving like an air of mystery and like a true sense of stakes as well, which was really interesting for a Muppets movie. You know, there was actual like good plot.
Yeah. And then I want to bring up a shout out Billy Connolly as Billy Bones. He did a great job, even as just being in the film for like 10 minutes, you know.
Did a great job at being in this movie.
I love how everyone leaves the bar and he comes back and he's like, "Oh, I need rum! Give me rum!"
Breaking everything.
I know. So I also have written down a few different times some of my favorite jokes. Visually challenged. That was, he's like, "Oh, as a blind guy." They prefer visually challenged. And then like a few seconds out, like a minute or two later, he says like, "Oh, visually challenged," like something like that. And I was like, "Whoa, call back."
I do appreciate that there's so many people with a gun, and like it goes down further like later in the movie too. But like obviously they're not gonna like shoot anyone.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But it's just funny seeing like, oh, like he's got this blind guy pretty much like dead to rights, but he just stands there with his gun.
And I think it just makes it so much better. It's just like, it's not, it's like it's supposed to be aimed at, like, for kids and family movie.
It's a kids movie. You still gotta set, if you're gonna have a movie about pirates, you gotta like have a movie about pirates.
You gotta have some stakes in there.
Yeah, right.
A couple of the jokes that I had was Rizzo's the rat and Gonzo's a whatever.
Yeah, every time he's like, Gonzo, and he just interrupts like, I don't know.
Oh, whatever.
Who knows? Whatever.
And then it's when we blind Pierre.
Yep. I've got
a pretty little girl.
I'm a boy.
That one's good. I've got Rizzo. I'm standing in a room with a dead guy.
Hey, this is supposed to be a kids movie.
Oh, and then we already alluded to the Jim.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's the best.
So good.
And then when they're looking through the chest for the map, Rizzo comes up with the fake mustache and glasses. He's like, "Hey guys, look!" Oh man, just so funny.
I gotta say, I love like in terms of comedy when it's smart, funny humor like that. Like it's childish, whatever, but it's funny. Like it doesn't have to be humor. Doesn't have to be raunchy or like shock value. And I feel like a lot of movies, when they do comedy, it tends to be, especially if it's like adult oriented comedy, it tends to be more raunchy, like shock value type humor. This is like straight old good comedy. It's just fun.
Yeah, and I don't think anything was like too forced. It just fits into the script. Great.
It was good writing.
I agree. The movie was like way funnier than I could have expected for that reason.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was like just
Oh, yeah.
pure comedy.
And then Mrs. Bulveridge.
Thickest
Yes.
woman alive.
Yup.
I love when they're like trying to break down the door and she just like rolls up her sleeves. She's like, she's just.
I do. 'Cause I love when they like the movie is just like, yes, these are puppets. This grown woman can easily manhandle these puppets.
She's just like hitting him on the head.
Yup. And every time she's like, I heard that, whatever. And they're like, how does she do it?
How does
Three
she
different
do that?
times in the opening. How did she do that? But to the kind of the point about the puppets, I was very impressed with how they made the puppets feel like real and alive and menacing as pirates, and Gonzo and Rizzo feel real, like they're standing next to a human being in Jim, and it doesn't feel like there's a disparity, like, oh, this dude is just talking to a bunch of puppets. Like they feel real, and that's, I think, the testament to the Muppets and what they do, and Jim Henson and all. But like, I was so impressed at how alive they felt.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. You want to move to the next section?
Sure. The trio takes the map to the half-wit Squire Trelawney, Fozzie Bear, and his finger, Mr. Bimbo, who arrange a voyage to find the treasure. The boys are enlisted aboard the Hispaniola as cabin boys, accompanied by Trelawney, Dr. Livesey, Bunsen Honeydew, and Beaker. Ship is commanded by Captain Abraham Smollett, Kermit the Frog, and his overly strict first mate, Mr. Samuel Arrow, Sam Eagle. The boys meet the cook, Long John Silver, like the restaurant, the one-legged man whom Bones warned them of. But Jim and Silver become good friends. The ship sets sail, but Smollett is suspicious of the crew, believing them to be shady characters. After Gonzo and Rizzo are kidnapped and tortured by 3 of the crew have turned out to be pirates, he has a treasure map locked up for safekeeping.
Great hook. I mean, going back to the last section, like Bones gives them the treasure map, and they've got to go and, you know, they've now got this treasure map. They're being hunted, whatever. It's just such a good hook, and I know it's the book Treasure Island, but like, it's great. It's so good. One of my favorite parts of this whole thing is Fozzie Bear and Mr. Bimbo. Mm-hmm. and every time he's like, you had your thumb make the decision. He's like, no, idiot. It was the person living in my thumb. It's like,
No,
like,
that's
what are you,
silly. No, it was
What
like
are you, stupid?
the person living in my finger.
And everyone's like what? Okay.
And I like when the,
I didn't write it down, but he had a joke about being like, like what else are like insanely rich guys supposed to do with their time?
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah.
Oh, it was because
That's
his
good.
father. Because his father they were supposed to meet with his father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, what else is rich kids supposed to do or whatever?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a
I
good
love-
one.
I love Fozzie.
And,
How'd you guys feel about the? No, go ahead, Sam.
I was gonna say they set sail on the big blue wet thing.
The big blue wet thing.
He's like,
he's like,
"What's
you know,
the
the
ocean?"
ocean. He's like, what?
The big blue wet thing.
How'd you guys feel about the? I mean, obviously saw it coming, but the whole reveal with Kermit being the captain. That scene might be one of my favorite in the movie.
Yeah.
Just for the fact that everyone's like, oh, the captain's coming, whatever, all the scurry, whatever. And then the reveal that it's Kermit, and after Mr. Arrow had hyped him up to be like this big, bad, angry volcano top, you know, captain. And then it's Kermit. And as he's walking up, it's dead silent.
He just does.
Everyone's kind of looking around, like, and it's a slow walk up too. He's like walking up the gangplank to get onto the ship, and everyone's like, and then Jim leans over, he's like, "That's the captain." It was just so perfectly executed. I loved it. It was so good.
And then Mr. Arrow, he's like, I knew it. He's furious.
Walk the deck, scrub the poop deck, cut your wrists, get out of here.
Jump off our boat.
I was like, whoa.
He's like, I didn't say that.
I said nothing of the sort.
I was just expecting your rage, sir. And that happens a couple times through the movie too. He's like, he's pissed. He's pissed.
He's pissed.
Oh man.
All right, and then one of my notes here: Tim Curry is GOAT.
Oh yeah, I have literally yes, Tim Curry with an exclamation point in my notes. Yeah. I mean, he just comes on screen and is just commanding all of the screen presence. Like you see it. I mean, Long John Silver is such an interesting character. Anyways, but like he just nails it. He knocks it out of the park. Yeah. I gotta say.
I just have one thing, because we'll get to in the next segment. But I put in my notes: you can't just hire Tim Curry and not expect me to think he's bad.
Yeah, you know what? That's totally true. That's so true.
It's fucking Pennywise.
He's gonna. Yeah, it's Pennywise. He's the Cardinal from Three Musketeers. You know, the butler from one of the endings of Clue where he did it. Spoiler alert.
He's in Home Alone 2.
He's the I think he's like the bellboy or the butler too, right?
He's
Yes,
a concierge,
he is,
I think.
Yeah, concierge. Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
And then Rocky Horror Picture Show. Like, he's Emperor Palpatine in the Clone Wars. Did you know that, Sam?
I did. He voiced a few.
I didn't until yesterday.
He voiced a few episodes.
Yeah, a few. He voiced a lot of them. He was Emperor Palpatine. But yeah, Tim Curry's awesome. Another joke that I really loved was during Roll Call.
Oh my gosh, Roll Call
old Tom,
was the best.
Dead Tom,
real old Tom, dead Tom, and dead Tom's like the guy holds him up. He's like, here.
Who is it? Headless Joe.
Headless Joe.
They're like, where is he?
And they just like, ugh.
So a slow pan over to him and says,
He's just like,
so stupid. And that's what I love about this movie so much is like, it is a genuine retelling of Treasure Planet, but they are able to just throw in so much Muppet charm onto it that it feels original on top of being literally like it's just Treasure Planet or Treasure Island. Sorry, not Treasure Planet. Well, Treasure Planet is basically the same thing. I have Treasure Planet on the mind. I watched it today and I fucking love that movie, man.
There's another joke. I think they were talking about like instances. It's like, oh, there's no way that could happen. And he's like, next thing you know, there's gonna be a singing, dancing mouse with his own amusement park. Obviously referring to Disney.
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse.
So good. And I love too, they get on the boat and instantly Rizzo's checking in rats. Yeah. He's like, all right, welcome, thank you very much, thank you, next.
Next.
Well, it's like, hey, we might find treasure. If we don't, your boy's walking out fat pockets.
Yeah, we're coming out with a profit.
Yep.
We will not be broke. They might.
And then all the, not to make them forget either, those guests come and they're recurring throughout the movie.
Oh, that's what I'm going to bring up. Like I had to know it was like the rat side story almost. It was just like everywhere they were. Good. They were just on like vacation, They're
just on a cruise. They're just on a cruise.
Well, I think it's a bit earlier when they have their first little meeting. Long John's, Kermit, like everyone important, and like Long John's just like, oh, we got a toast, and everyone grabs like some rum, and they're like, no, this is actually gonna be a dry trip, and just throw it out the window. And they're like, no, but it's tradition, so they all pour another one, and Kermit's like, no, we're gonna set the standard. And then a couple of rats just like poke their head up. It's like, hey, can you not? We're out here.
And if you notice too. Not Gonzo. It was Fozzie Bear. Trelawney was the only one pouring and throwing it out the window. Like he like because he's such an idiot, such a doofus. He's just like oh, just gone. I do have to mention this is kind of like the start between this and the next section, really. On a bit more of a negative side, I don't think that they spend enough time setting up the relationship between Jim and Silver to really make an impact in the like. Obviously, if you know the story, if you can watch the movie, you can tell that Silver, spoiler, is the bad guy,
the one-legged man.
But also the point of it is like they develop this real great bond, this familial bond, and Silver becomes like a father figure for him, and that's what I think a movie like Treasure Planet does a little bit better, in that they invest a lot more time in that relationship. This movie needed a little bit more time between them. They have like the one scene where he teaches him like how to navigate by the North Star, and that's really it before we get the big reveal. That being said, though, before we get all that, you got Cabin Fever, which is
I've got it too.
I've got cabin fever.
What'd you think of that song thing?
It's a bit of a dud. I'm not gonna lie, it's a bit of a dud. I was like, whatever.
I enjoyed it. I think my dud was Jim's song at the beginning. That one I didn't really like.
Really?
Yeah.
It was
I
a
like
good
that
one, but
a
it was
lot.
alright. Yeah, I think that was that's not the one I usually.
The one that where it's the three of them in the inn.
Yeah.
in the inn
In
England.
In
England. Yeah, I mean, to each their own, obviously. But yeah, I mean, it was the music's still good. Like it's still solid. Do we want to go to the next section?
Yep.
Anyone have any other notes?
Not here.
Nah.
Okay.
All right. It is revealed that Silver and the secret pirates in the crew. First off, it's revealed that Silver is the evil pirate. Jim and the gang find that out while hiding away. It is revealed that Silver and the secret pirates in the crew have been part of Flint's crew and want the treasure for themselves. Silver fools Mr. Arrow into leaving the ship to test out a rowboat, and then says he drowns, while his minions steal the map during Arrow's memorial service. Jim, Gonzo, and Rizzo discover Silver's treachery and inform Smollett. Arriving at the island, Smollett orders the entire crew to save the... hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. Smollett orders the entire crew, but the officers, to go ashore, planning to keep himself and the non-pirate crew aboard the ship and abandon the pirates on the island. His plan falls through when it's discovered that Silver had kidnapped Jim as leverage. On the island, Silver invites Jim to join them in the treasure hunt using his late father's compass. When Jim refuses, Silver forcibly takes the compass from him. Smollett, Gonzo, and Rizzo land on the island in an effort to rescue Jim. However, Silver had hidden a squad of pirates aboard the Hispaniola before leaving, and they captured the ship in Smollett's absence. On the island, Smollett and the rest of the landing party are captured by the native tribe of pigs, where he reunites with his jilted lover, Benjamina Mina Gunn, Miss Piggy, the tribe's queen.
It's a lot. No, I mean, like I said before, I think there needed to be a bit more development for the reveal that Silver's a bad guy to really hit home a little bit more. That said, it's Tim Curry.
Duh.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do? I mean, he's just the GOAT. One of my favorite moments is Silver tricking Mr. Arrow into you gotta check out this rowboat. It might be broken. It might be
unsafe.
Mr.
You need to row out to the middle of the ocean.
So stupid. It's so stupid, but it's such a good plot. It's such a Muppets plot device. I love it.
Yeah. Anything important you want me to hold? Your hat,
Your keys.
your keys.
He's like, oh yes, we can't forget the keys. And he just willingly is like, yes, here, I trust you. And then he kind of does the same thing too to Jim when he captures him. He puts his crutch on the deck, easily within reach of him.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, hey, can you please hand me my crutch? Come closer. I need you to hand me my crutch. I can't reach.
Especially at this point, because like he knows that he's a bad guy, and Silver knows that Jim knows.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey,
and also,
no, I'm not giving you your fucking crutch, dude.
But also, it's a crutch. It's like this long? Just like whoop, just hand it to him. Like you don't have to get within grabbing distance.
Yeah.
Toss it overboard, man. Make him swim.
Oh my god. How did you feel about like them landing on the island and beating up with the pigs and stuff like that?
I liked it.
Well, this is my favorite song of the movie, and it's "The Professional Pirate," the one that Tim Curry sings.
Really, that's your favorite?
It is.
It was good.
Yeah, it was. And I love how mid-song he interrupts, like, this is my only song. Don't interrupt me.
Shut the fuck up. I'm about to sing.
Yeah, that was a good one. I thought a lot of the stuff on the island, like, I wasn't too keen. I know they had to bring Miss Piggy into it. I didn't care much for the stuff with the pigs, with the pig people.
You didn't care for Spam.
Yeah. Yeah, that part of the movie, it did lose me a little bit, but maybe it was also because I was like busy at some point. I was like, I don't know if I had like stepped away for half a second and missed something, but yeah, I don't know. It just wasn't as engaging as the rest of the movie was.
I like it's funny that you brought up back in Sam's game, like the Family Guy thing, how they'll try to just fit every character into whatever reference they're making. And that was something I was trying to be mindful of here too. I'm like, okay. Like I haven't watched the Muppets in a while, so like I'm not really up to date on who's who, but I was like, I do know Miss Piggy's gotta show up at some point.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And I was like,
and I mean I feel like they did it well enough. I just, you know, if it was a regular movie, I would have been like, yeah, we can just cut that. Just leave that on the cutting room floor. But you're right. I mean, they do have to. I mean, you can't have a Muppets movie without Miss Piggy in it.
yeah.
So.
I did like, what are the names? Statler and Waldorf too. I know that was earlier, but their inclusion as, what's it called? Like the little... The decoration on the front of the boat.
Oh yes, yep. The thing.
Yeah, the things.
Yes. Yep. That's yeah. That was cool. I do like the little inclusions of like, oh, there's a Muppets guy, and that's you know, that it felt a lot like you said, like the Family Guy. What Family Guy does with their, like, and for some of them too. Like in Family Guy, Meg is always like a monster, or whatever, and it's like you give some characters just kind of like one-off little moments or whatnot, but it works. It works.
Yeah, it's like the chef, the Muppet chef,
with his human hands.
We had to fit him in the movie somehow.
I did like that. Again, that's like the movie being like the right amount of meta, just being like,
Yeah.
He's on retainer. We got to use him.
There were a couple good fourth wall breaks too throughout the movie.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, they know. They know. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much else about this section of the movie. We haven't really talked much about Kermit, and maybe it's just because like I don't know, Captain Smollett up until towards the end of the movie feels rather unimportant.
Well, I think it was like he wasn't the main character, I guess.
No.
He wasn't the main protagonist.
He wasn't
was
even
just
like
there,
one of the
which
main sidekicks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was Gonzo
But
and
I
Rizzo.
like that. Yeah.
One thing I did
honestly, I have expected Kermit to be Jim Hawkins, just because whatever. But
I mean, he has what I think is the funniest part of this movie coming up. He's that guy. He's Kermit.
yeah, it's Kermit. You know, I mean, it's just the fact that he's there is enough.
Just the fact that it's like a little green frog, just like walking around in the background,
Yeah.
is just hilarious.
In like chest out, like back straight, arms behind his back, like I'm the captain. Oh, I'm the captain. Hello.
honestly, I think my favorite part with Kermit was when they meet with Miss Piggy. She's like, "Hiya!" He goes flying into the gong. He gets up shaking. He's like, "Old girlfriend."
Oh no, he's got the hiccups.
Excuse
Yes!
me, I'm gonna kill myself.
Well, why don't you? Anyone else? Anyone have anything for this section? Anything else?
I pretty much. I guess the Boom Shakalaka song, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, Connor, bring us through the next. Do you want to just
take it to the end.
kind of go through the? I mean, yeah,
there's
there's
not
not
much.
much left. Yeah.
All right. So the pirates find the cave in which Flint hid the treasure, but it's empty, leading to a brief mutiny against Silver. At this time, he reveals that he does care for Jim and allows him to escape. After reprimanding the crew for using a page of the Bible to deliver a death sentence, Silver and his crew capture Smollett and Mina. Smollett is hung from a cliff to fall to his death, joined soon after by Mina after she reveals that the treasure is hidden in her house just to save his life, but she ends up hanging with him. Jim rescues his friend, and with an alive Mr. Sparrow, who portrays his own
Mr. Who?
Mr. Arrow.
Jack Sparrow? Sorry.
Who portrays his own ghost to scare the pirates aboard the ship, the group regains control of the Hispaniola and rescues Smollett and Mina. The group engages the remaining pirates in a sword fight on the beach, with Sweetums defecting to Smollett's side until only Silver is left standing. He surrenders when he finds that he is severely outnumbered. While the pirates are imprisoned, Silver discovers that he still has Mr. Arrow's keys and tries to escape with the treasure during the night. Jim awakes and confronts him and threatens to give away his position while Silver draws his gun on him. This is a kid, by the way. In a tearful standoff, neither can bring themselves to follow through with their threats, and Jim allows Silver to escape as long as they never cross paths again. They're both very disappointed by this. Silver starts to row away, but he realizes he still has Jim's compass, so he passes it back to him, complimenting him on his sweetheart. However, Mr. Arrow informs Jim and Smollett that the boat Silver used was not seaworthy, and Silver is later stranded on Treasure Island. The crew of the Hispaniola sails away into the sunset, but not before some scuba diving tourist rats Rizzo brought on the ship recovered the treasure from the bottom of the sea. The end.
The end. I do like, obviously you know it's coming, but Silver having kind of the heart that we want him to, like, well done. Tim Curry is great, but also Kevin Bishop, he pulls weight in a lot of these scenes, and I don't think I've mentioned it enough.
Yeah.
Like, he really pulls his weight.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I like the final. I like the final fight scene.
It's
with, like,
pretty
everybody.
solid. I was not as much of a fan of the fight between Kermit and Silver.
Oh,
That was
that was.
that was just funny. Like him doing like
It was
6
just kinda
backflips while Silver has again a gun pointed at him. He's like, tally ho, and does 6 backflips and just swats the gun away. I was like, all right.
Like,
And then he's just like waving his arm around with the sword. He's like talking and just waving his arm around.
Oh, I'm a frog. Slippery hands.
Yeah, when he loses, when he like loses his sword. You know that meme? I think it was like on Twitter. It was like this girl was saying how her boyfriend likes to pick fights at bars, and then when like someone's actually gonna like kick his ass, he's like, "Hey, I'm just a little small guy. You know what am I gonna do? It's my birthday. too."
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do? I thought it was something like that. He's like, I'm just a frog.
man.
What are you gonna kill a frog?
I'm just a frog. Slippery hands. You know. Oh well. But I think I know what you wanted to bring up earlier.
When he's holding,
The hanging off the cliff.
yeah, dude.
When they're hanging off the cliff and Mina falls, and he
catches
grabs
her.
her, and his eyes just like roll
His
out
eyes
of
are
his head.
bugging out of his head.
He's like, oh.
She's like, "Oh my god, you saved me, my hero!" And he's like,
He's like, oh,
"Help!"
that was a great moment.
And the fact that everybody got scared and jumped off the ship because of the supposed ghost of Mr. Arrow, like just covered in seaweed.
It's just,
I am the ghost of Samuel Arrow. Ah! And they all run off.
I do love to. I want to. That boat was not seaworthy. How did he get back to the ship? Like, he discovers this boat was not seaworthy and then makes it back to the ship.
I don't know.
He's like, yeah. But I just love that he casually just returns. He's like, hey, I'm back. You were right. There is issues. The fight on the beach, though, I will say, was really solid. I was surprised at how, like, I mean, it was legitimate, like, sword fighting. There were Muppets actually sword fighting. Mm-hmm. I was like, whoa, I was not expecting that.
Another pretty good comedy was the pigs all show up, and then he shoots at them. He's like, what did he say? He's like, we see.
Oh, they have the big boomstick.
We see you have boom stick. Goodbye. And they just run away.
Just leave. Oh man. But after he gets captured and everything, I think legitimately the best scene in this movie is that end scene with the standoff between Silver and Jim.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
the emotion from both sides in the words that they don't say. I mean, I was kind of tearing up a little bit. I was like, oh my god, like there's a legitimate bond between these two people, and they're heartbroken. And Jim especially is heartbroken that Silver turned out to be who he was, and Silver's heartbroken that this boy that he came to love doesn't want to follow him in his path. And I was like, whoa, it hit me.
I think the relationship between and the what word am I trying to say? But the connection between Tim Curry and
the bond,
it's like between Tim Curry and Kevin Bishop was great. And
Chemistry.
That's the word, chemistry. Yeah.
Chemistry.
Yeah. As you can see, I failed chemistry. Actually, I didn't fail chemistry.
Mr. Richards would be so disappointed.
No, I think that just the chemistry between the two actors really showed in that final scene too.
Yeah.
Because,
they did have a great chemistry throughout the movie too. But not to be undone, that whole moment happens and Jim lets him go, and then you get the slow pan over, and Kermit's just there like, yeah, you did good, Jim. You did good.
I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you.
Your father would be proud.
It's like they're just standing there the whole time. And it's like you see him for like imagine like Silver's perspective of like he's having this moment with Jim and here's Smollett and all of the other people just off to the side just waiting. They're just standing there waiting. Oh, that was good. And then obviously Mr. Arrow being like, "Yeah, that boat's gonna sink," and like, "Oh, great."
And I love how it leaves on such like a question too. Like it shows Long John like sinking, but the island right there and him swimming towards the island. So like,
yeah, I mean, his fate
open.
is to just be stranded. You know, he's going to be stranded on an island, and it's a fate worse than death for a pirate. And then the rats.
The rats.
Just diving down. That was honestly a really good place to end the movie. But yeah. Yeah, so I think that's gonna wrap up the review section, the content section. So let's get into our scores, shall we?
Sure.
All right, so we got the acting score. So who wants to roll with their score there?
Sure.
All right.
So obviously, we've talked about this throughout the entire review, but Tim Curry, Kevin Bishop, the Muppets, they're just superb. I mean, a couple things could have been a little bit better, but I gave this a 4.5 out of 5. Almost perfect.
It's a good score.
I'm right there at a 4.5 as well. I think the best thing that the movie does is convinces you that these aren't puppets; these are actual just beings.
Yeah, right. They exist.
And then Tim Curry's a legend, and definitely carries a lot.
For sure. I was a little bit lower at 4 out of 5. Mainly because at points it delved, I think, a little too much into the kid-friendly nature of it. But again, it is a kids' movie, so I can't really fault it for that. But it was still excellent. I mean, there's great chemistry among the whole cast. Like you said, Connor, the Muppets feel real. They feel lived in this world, and that's a testament to the performances by the people who act the Muppets. So yeah, I gave it a 4 out of 5. Still really, really solid. Next we got story concept. And I'll go first here because I gave this a big fat NA for a score because the story is Treasure Island, baby. There's nothing new about it. It's Treasure Island. And they said, what if we took Muppets and did Treasure Island and you get Muppet Treasure Island? So it didn't feel right giving it a score because they're adapting a work and it just didn't need a score. So I gave it an NA and didn't factor it in.
So that's a 0.
No, it's an NA. It didn't factor in to my final score.
So a 1 then.
0.5.
0.387.
Yes, thank you.
I am not a coward. I will give this a 4 out of 5. Again, like it is Treasure Island. Like there's not much deviation besides the fact that they're Muppets running around. I like to bring back the Family Guy. Like when they do like their little spoofs of like a movie or a show, they'll get the story right, but they'll add in their own things. I feel like this one kind of just played a bit more to the book. So yeah, 4.
I also give it a 4 out of 5. This story / concept and like we're gonna talk about the writing, it really goes hand in hand a lot with this because of the adaptation. So yeah.
All right. Visuals. Who wants to? Connor, do you want to talk about the visuals?
Sure. I'm going to go with a 4 out of 5 for this. I feel like that would be a bit lower, but I felt like it definitely looks beautiful. Like I was saying, how the Muppets feel very real. A lot of times it did feel like they were just on a set, not. I mean, obviously they can't go to a beach with like all these puppets. You need to have like someplace underneath for the actors to perform or above to perform. The Muppets all move well, except for like that Kermit scene where he is flipping around. They had to,
that was a little wonky.
They had to CGI him. But again, like
this is that 1996 CGI.
Yeah. But I think Kermit's face when he was trying to hold on to Miss Piggy redeemed that one moment. So 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I agree. I was actually at a 4.5 out of 5 because I disagree with you slightly in that, yes, it felt like they were on a set, but to me, honestly, it didn't matter because they captured the atmosphere perfectly. It like, even though like you knew that they had to be on a set because of the nature of the movie, the ship itself looked real and lived in. It looked like a pirate ship, and every place that they went felt like someplace a pirate would go. Mm-hmm. And they captured it really perfectly. I mean, even the port that they went to, it felt real. I mean, it was just, and then, you know, to your point, the Muppets felt real in the setting. They, you know, they didn't look out of place. Mm-hmm. They blended right in, and that has a lot to do with, you know, how the sets were designed, how the costumes were. You know, they took a lot of care in that. So I went with a 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah. For me, this I think was the strongest thing about this movie. I gave this a 5 out of 5. I think this is my favorite. I know we're kind of roping like sound into this too.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. But
I
again,
still feel like we should add a sound category at some point, but
yeah.
Maybe in the future.
I don't know. Going back to the Muppets thing, it just feels like you can see all these like videos and stuff like that of like, yeah, you know, the puppets, and it's very 2-dimensional, but it felt really 3-dimensional and everything like that. And again, the soundtrack is phenomenal. So this was my favorite part of the movie. I'm just a sucker for pirate stuff too, so I think the props were great too, like actual props and actual costumes and everything like that.
Costumes were good.
Yeah, I think, and especially with the Muppets and stuff, each one had different ones, and I don't know. So,
all right, and then finally the writing. I've touched on it before. I am giving it a 4 out of 5. Writing is smart. It's funny. It's clever. It's kid friendly, but it's not like
hold your hand
to a fault. Right. It's not to a fault. Mm-hmm. It retells the story of Treasure Island, adds a Muppet spin, makes it incredibly funny, but doesn't. And I think maybe a testament to the performances as well of the human actors. It doesn't feel overdone, and I loved it. So I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, for all the reasons you just said, I gave it a 4.5 out of 5.
And all for the reasons that you all said, that you both said. No, I gave this
actually
also...
specifically for the reasons that Connor said.
In turn, was the reasons that you said. So in reasons, it's what I said.
Ergo.
Full circle.
I also gave this a 4.5 out of 5. I think all the jokes hit great. And going back to your point, yes, the intended audience is kids. However, as an adult, I love watching this movie. And
yeah, we're three 20-year-olds that just love the shit out of this movie.
It's just like, it's just a nostalgia hit for me too. I watched this movie all the time when I was a kid. So,
and that's going to bring us to our overall enjoyment score. This is the final score for the movie. If you're not aware, this is each of our final scores. For me, when you add up all my scores, it actually comes out to a 4.16, but I bumped it up a little bit because I felt like it deserved it to a 4.25. Wow. Overall.
What a saint. I'll go. I gave it a 4 out of 5. Really enjoyable. I didn't have like that same nostalgia hit just because I didn't really grow up with it. Even though I think I saw it, but I just don't remember all of it. Again, really funny for a movie that shouldn't be that funny to us as adults.
Yep.
And Kermit's just a G.
Yep.
Clearly you could tell how much I love this movie and how I'm gonna have the highest score out of this for this. Again, like I said, I grew up with this movie. I watched it all the time when I was younger. I had the VHS and had it in the cabinet, and my brother and I used to watch it all the time. I give this movie a 4.6.
Oh, a 4.6. I love it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to... Oh, there we go. That is going to put Muppets Treasure Island all the way up onto the podium of movies that we've watched, kicking Scream off the podium officially. This comes in at number 2, gang, with an average score of 4.28, which is just above Challengers, just below Call Me By Your Name, so right in between a nice Lucas sandwich.
Not a place where the Muppets belong.
Where the Muppets belong. An average rating of a 4.28, which is actually quite a bit higher than the average tomato meter score and the average audience score. So we like this movie quite a bit better than than the general audience and the general critics. But that's what this is for. Next week, we will be watching Shark Tale to kick off Shark Month on the Filmbox podcast, which I know a particular someone is very excited for.
I get my pirates. Connor gets his sharks.
Oh, we'll get to my
Aaron.
favorites. Shark Tale is it's not high up there, but it's got a shark in it.
It's sharks. We have it, Connor. We have a whole month dedicated to
I
sharks.
know, and we're gonna get to the bangers. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so tune in next week for Shark Tale.
Like I said, I get my pirates. Connor gets his sharks, and Aaron's gonna get his Freeman.
My Fremen. We should review Dune 2 on this podcast.
We should review all the non-Denny Dune movies.
Oh, so so
The comic
Dune, the original Dune, and
the one with James McAvoy.
Jodorowsky's Dune or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be something. Maybe we'll do that for a later episode. But for now, tune in next week for Shark Week or Shark Month, the start of Shark Month. If you like this episode, leave a rating, subscribe, follow us on your favorite podcast platform, share it with your friends, do all that fun stuff. It really helps us out, shows us we're doing a good job. You can check us out on Twitter at FilmboxPod, where I post fairly frequently. I say fairly, it's not super frequently there, but I am posting a lot more on my personal TikTok and Twitter about commentary on the industry, when I write new articles and when I post on TikTok. You can catch my Letterboxd top 250 journey and a whole bunch of other stuff on TikTok. I actually just did a video today on my top 10 movies of the first half of 2024. So if you want to check that out, go to my TikTok. It's at Aaron Souza, I think. It'll be in the description. It'll be in the description. It'll be in the show notes. I should probably know that. It'll be in the show notes. But yeah, on top of that, check out our website, pressplaymag.com, for all of our latest reviews of new movies. And you can check out our Letterboxd profiles. Those are in the show notes as well to see what we've been watching, when we watch them, and you don't have to wait for the episodes to come out, silly.
Goofy.
You little goofball. But yeah, so before we wrap it up, Connor, we got to do numbers.
Yep. Same as always, 1 through 5.
I'm going with number 4 today.
I'm gonna
4
go
sounds
with
like a
number
good number.
5.
All right, I am watching Harakiri and The Usual Suspects.
Oh, that's a good one. Well, stay tuned for Connor's thoughts next week on the Filmbox Podcast. We'll see you next time.
Cabin fever.
Peace.